There is a peculiar illusion we all fall into, one where we measure ourselves against others, thinking that somewhere out there is someone better, more capable, more deserving. But pause for a moment. Ask yourself, better according to whom? Reality is not an objective, fixed entity, but rather a reflection of the mind that perceives it. Every experience, every interaction, and every event that unfolds before you is shaped by the lens through which you view it. Two people can witness the same moment and walk away with entirely different understandings, not because the event itself was different, but because the meaning they assigned to it was. A person who sees themselves as insignificant will find evidence of their insignificance everywhere. They will notice the way others overlook them, interpret silence as rejection, and believe that the world conspires to keep them small. Yet another person, standing in the same moment, may walk with the quiet assurance that they are meant to be here, that they matter. The world in response seems to bend in their favor. It is not the world that has changed. It is the mind that perceives it. Your thoughts are not passive whispers drifting through your mind. They are the architects of your experience. When you wake up and decide that today will be a difficult day, your mind gathers proof to support that belief. It clings to every minor inconvenience, every delay, every frown from a stranger, and uses them as validation that you were right. But if you wake up and decide that today will unfold in your favor, the same world presents itself differently. You notice the opportunities, the brief moments of kindness, the beauty in the ordinary. Nothing external has shifted, only the frame through which you view it. The way you see yourself is the foundation upon which all other perceptions are built. If you believe you are undeserving, the world will reflect that belief. You will hesitate to take chances, withdraw from opportunities, and speak with uncertainty. Others will respond in kind, mirroring back the energy you project. But if you walk into a room with the quiet understanding that you belong, that your presence carries weight, the world will adjust to that belief. People will listen more attentively, doors will seem to open effortlessly, and success will appear to gravitate toward you. Many people wait for external validation before they allow themselves to believe in their own worth. They think, once others respect me, I will respect myself. Once I achieve success, I will believe I am capable. Once I am loved, I will feel lovable. But they do not see that the process works in reverse. Respect comes after self-respect. Success follows self-belief. And love is attracted to those who carry it within themselves. The world is not the cause, it is the effect. Perception is not merely a filter for reality. It is the blueprint from which reality is constructed. This is why two people can live entirely different lives despite being given the same circumstance. One sees failure as proof of inadequacy. The other sees it as a necessary step toward mastery. The difference is not in the events themselves, but in the meaning assigned to them. This is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is about understanding that your mind is constantly shaping the world around you, whether you are aware of it or not. Every time you tell yourself, I can't do this, you are not stating a fact. You are giving your mind instructions on how to behave. You are setting limits that do not exist outside of your own belief. But when you tell yourself, I am capable, even before you fully believe it, you are planting the seed of possibility. Over time, your actions will begin to align with that belief, and the world will reflect it back to you. The greatest figures throughout history did not wait for proof before they believed in themselves. They acted as if their vision was already true, and in doing so, they brought it into reality. They saw beyond what was in front of them, and held on to a perception that the rest of the world had yet to see. They understood that reality bends to the will of those who refuse to see themselves as anything less than capable, worthy, and powerful. The moment you change the way you see yourself, the world will respond in kind. It is not a matter of external forces granting you permission to succeed. It is a matter of you granting yourself permission to be exactly who you are meant to be. Reality will always reflect the mind that perceives it, and the way you choose to see yourself will determine the life that unfolds before you. Superiority is an illusion that exists only in the minds of those who believe in it. No person is born inherently greater than another. Yet, the world convinces us otherwise. From an early age, we are taught to look up to some and look down on others, to measure ourselves against an invisible standard, to accept the idea that some individuals are destined for greatness, while others remain ordinary. But who decides this? Who establishes the hierarchy of worth that people spend their entire lives trying to climb? The answer is no one except those who choose to believe in it. The idea that some are naturally superior is a construct, not a truth. It is built on perception, reinforced by those who benefit from it, and accepted by those who do not question it. A person who carries themselves with confidence is often perceived as important, while another just as capable but hesitant is overlooked. It is not ability that creates this difference, but belief. The first individual assumes a position of strength, and so the world responds accordingly. The second questions their own value, and so the world reflects that uncertainty back to them. The illusion of superiority is maintained not by actual differences in talent or intelligence, but by the way people present themselves and the way others react to those presentations. History does not remember the most capable, it remembers the most convinced. It is not always the most talented musician, the most insightful thinker, or the most skilled leader who rises to prominence. It is often the one who carries themselves with the unshakable certainty that they belong at the top. This is why so many brilliant minds go unnoticed, while those with less ability but greater self-assurance command attention. The illusion persists because people mistake confidence for superiority. The structures of society reinforce this illusion, creating ranks and titles, placing one person above another as if human worth can be measured like numbers on a scale. Yet strip away these external markers, and what remains? A human being, just like any other, governed by the same fears, the same insecurities, and the same fleeting thoughts of doubt. Even those who are admired and revered are not immune to uncertainty. They simply mask it better, understanding that the world does not question those who do not question themselves. When someone walks into a room with an air of certainty, others instinctively treat them as important, not because they possess some inherent superiority, but because people respond to confidence as if it is proof of value. This is the secret that many fail to realize. The world believes in those who believe in themselves. Superiority is not something real, it is something performed. And just as one person can act as though they are above others, another can choose to step into their own power and dismantle the illusion entirely. There is a great irony in the idea of superiority. Those who spend their lives trying to prove they are better than others often do so out of insecurity. They fear irrelevance, and so they build walls of status around themselves, hoping to convince the world of their importance. But true strength requires no such performance. A person who understands their own worth does not need to be above anyone else. They simply exist with the quiet certainty that they are enough. They do not compare, because comparison is the tool of those who have not yet realized their own significance. The moment a person stops viewing themselves as below anyone, the illusion begins to crumble. There is no one looking down on you except in your own mind. There is no authority granting permission to be great. There is no secret club of the chosen few. There is only belief. The belief that some are meant to rise and others are meant to remain in the background. But belief is not truth, and illusions fade the moment they are exposed. Superiority is not real, but perception is powerful. The world does not favor those who are better, but those who act as if they are. The question is not whether someone is above you, but whether you will continue to believe in an illusion that has no foundation beyond the minds of those who accept it. The moment you see through it, you are free. Circumstances are often mistaken for destiny, as if the conditions surrounding a person have the power to dictate the course of their life. Many believe that where they are born, the resources they have, or the obstacles in their path determine what they can achieve. But reality does not work this way. It is not the external conditions that shape a person's future, but the way they respond to them. Two people can be given the same set of circumstances, yet one will rise while the other remains stagnant. The difference is not in what they have, but in how they think. The mind is the foundation upon which all else is built. A person with a strong mindset can take even the most difficult situations and turn them into opportunities, while another, overwhelmed by doubt, may see only limitation. There are those who face hardship and use it as fuel to push forward, refusing to be defined by their struggles. Others, given every advantage, still find themselves trapped, unable to move beyond their own fears and hesitations. The world does not decide who succeeds. The mind does. A person who sees challenges as barriers will always find reasons to stop, but one who sees them as stepping stones will always find a way through. It is not the presence or absence of difficulty that makes the difference, but the attitude taken toward it. Some look at their problems and ask, "Why me?" Others ask, "How can I use this?" The first question leads to helplessness, the second to action. The greatest shift happens when a person realizes that their thoughts are not passive observers of reality, but active creators of it. A mind that constantly entertains doubt, fear, and hesitation will create a life that reflects those thoughts. Every small failure will be taken as proof of inadequacy. Every rejection will feel like confirmation of unworthiness. But a mind that chooses resilience will see failure as a lesson, rejection as redirection, and every setback as part of a greater process. The difference is not in the events themselves, but in the meaning assigned to them. Many people wait for circumstances to change before they allow themselves to believe in their own potential. They think that once they have more resources, more support, or more luck, then they will act. But waiting for conditions to be perfect is a mistake, because conditions are always changing. The person who succeeds is not the one who waits for the right moment, but the one who decides that every moment is the right one. They move forward not because they are free from difficulty, but because they refuse to let difficulty stop them. The world does not owe success to anyone, and it does not offer guarantees. It only reflects back the energy that is put into it. Those who approach life with hesitation receive hesitation in return. Those who move with certainty shape their own path. This is why mindset is more powerful than circumstance. It determines the way a person interacts with the world, and the world responds in kind. There are people who have risen from nothing, not because they were given a way out, but because they refused to accept that they were trapped. There are others who have lost everything and rebuilt, not because they were handed another chance, but because they created one for themselves. And there are those who have every advantage, yet never break free from their own doubts, proving that circumstances alone do not determine success. It is always the mind that decides. The way a person sees themselves is the greatest force in shaping their life. Someone who believes they are limited will never step beyond those limits. Someone who believes they are capable will find a way, no matter how difficult the path. The moment a person stops seeing obstacles as immovable and starts seeing them as challenges to overcome, everything changes. It is not external conditions that hold people back, but the belief that they do. There is power in knowing that mindset is greater than circumstance. It means that no matter where a person begins, they are not defined by it. It means that the limitations of today do not have to be the reality of tomorrow. Once this is understood, there is no longer any reason to wait, to hesitate, or to hold back. The mind has always been the key, and the moment a person masters it, everything else follows. Every action begins with a thought, and every transformation starts with belief. A person is not defined by where they are now, but by where they are willing to go. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is deeply believed. It simply follows the path that is given. Those who wait to feel ready before they act often remain in the same place, trapped by their own hesitation. But those who step into the identity they desire, even before it feels natural, shape themselves into something greater. There is a misconception that confidence, strength, or mastery must first be earned before they can be expressed, that one must wait for proof before claiming an identity. But this thinking keeps people stagnant. Those who seem powerful were not always so. Those who speak with certainty were once unsure. Those who lead did not begin with authority. The difference is that they stepped into the role before they felt qualified. They carried themselves as if they already were, and in doing so they became. The mind adapts to what it is given. A person who moves through the world as if they are confident, capable, and strong starts to believe it. The body follows suit, the actions align, and the world responds accordingly. Others begin to treat them as they treat themselves. A hesitant person invites hesitation from those around them. A person who carries themselves with assurance invites trust. The shift is internal before it is external. When someone acts as if they are already what they desire to be, they begin to change the way they think, the way they move, and the way they interact with the world. A person who speaks with conviction does not wait to feel courageous. They practice speaking boldly until courage becomes natural. A person who wants to be disciplined does not wait for motivation. They commit to action until discipline becomes second nature. The transformation is not in waiting for the feeling, but in stepping into it before it arrives. The world is not shaped by those who second-guess themselves. It bends to those who act with certainty. There is no secret barrier separating those who succeed from those who do not. There is only the willingness to embody a version of oneself that does not yet exist. A person who remains attached to who they are today will always hesitate to step into who they could become. But one who dares to move as if they have already arrived will find themselves growing into that reality. This is not deception, nor is it pretense. It is stepping beyond the limitations of old patterns. It is understanding that change does not happen through waiting, but through action. A person who sees themselves as weak will reinforce that belief with every hesitant step. A person who sees themselves as strong will reinforce that strength by moving through the world accordingly. When a person wakes up and decides to carry themselves as if they are already where they want to be, they rewire their thinking. The hesitation begins to fade. The doubt loses its grip. A person who wishes to be respected must first carry themselves with self-respect. A person who wishes to be heard must first speak as though their words matter. The shift happens the moment one stops waiting for permission. There is no force stopping anyone from stepping into the role they desire except their own hesitation. The mind can be trained, the body can be conditioned, and the actions can be aligned. Those who understand this move forward without waiting. They do not question whether they are ready. They do not ask for validation. They embody the energy of who they are becoming until it is no longer an act, but a reality. Every great transformation begins with a decision. The decision to move as if the growth has already taken place. To carry oneself as if strength, confidence, and certainty are already present. To act before feeling fully prepared, because the truth is, no one ever truly feels ready at the beginning. Readiness comes from action, not from waiting. Those who grasp this do not pretend to be something they are not. They step into the person they are becoming, and in doing so, they no longer fake it. They embody it. Confidence does not announce itself, it does not demand attention or seek validation. It moves through the world with quiet certainty, unaffected by the noise around it. Those who possess true confidence do not need to prove anything, because they already know their worth. They do not shout to be heard or seek approval from others. Their presence alone speaks for them. There is a difference between arrogance and confidence. Arrogance is loud, constantly trying to convince the world of its importance. It relies on the recognition of others to feel secure. Confidence, on the other hand, is silent, because it does not depend on external approval. It comes from within, a deep understanding that no matter what happens, one remains whole and capable. The one who is truly confident does not fear being overlooked, because they do not measure their value by how much attention they receive. Confidence is not about knowing everything or being perfect. It is about trusting oneself, even in uncertainty. The confident person understands that they will not always have all the answers, but they do not let that stop them. They move forward regardless, adapting and learning as they go. They do not waste energy worrying about what others think, because they know that external opinions have no power over their inner reality. Insecurity, on the other hand, is restless. It constantly seeks reassurance, needing the world to confirm its worth. It over-explains, overcompensates, and fears silence. But true confidence finds peace in quietness. It does not rush to fill every gap with words. It knows that presence alone is enough. The most powerful individuals are often the ones who say the least, because their actions and energy communicate more than words ever could. Confidence does not require aggression. It does not need to dominate or intimidate. Instead, it allows things to unfold naturally, never forcing or chasing. It understands that desperation repels, while self-assurance attracts. The one who is confident does not beg for opportunities, friendships, or recognition. They know that what aligns with them will come naturally, and what does not was never meant for them. The truly confident person does not fear rejection. They do not shrink when they are ignored or criticized. They remain steady, knowing that their value does not change based on how others perceive them. They do not waste time trying to convince those who do not see their worth. Instead, they continue forward, unaffected by temporary setbacks. They understand that rejection is not a reflection of their value, but simply a redirection towards something better. Confidence is built in solitude. It is not given by others, nor is it something that can be borrowed. It is earned through experience, through facing fears, through trusting oneself in moments of doubt. It grows with every challenge overcome, every difficult choice made, and every moment of self-reliance. The person who is truly confident has walked through uncertainty and emerged stronger, knowing that they can face whatever comes next. There is power in stillness. The confident person does not react impulsively. They do not feel the need to defend themselves against every insult or prove themselves in every argument. They know that real strength is shown through restraint. They choose their battles wisely, understanding that most conflicts are not worth engaging in. The one who is always trying to prove something is often the one who is least sure of themselves. The energy of confidence changes everything. It shapes the way a person walks, the way they speak, the way they handle adversity. It commands respect without demanding it. It draws people in without effort. It does not need to be validated because it is self-sustaining. And those who possess it move through life with a quiet, undeniable power. Comparison is a silent thief, robbing people of their peace, contentment, and self-worth. It creeps in unnoticed, turning moments of appreciation into dissatisfaction, replacing gratitude with longing, and distorting perception. The mind becomes trapped in an endless cycle of measuring, assessing, and questioning, always searching for proof of adequacy or superiority. But there is no fulfillment in comparison, only an ever-moving target that can never be reached. A person who constantly looks to others for validation will never know true confidence. They will always be bound by external markers of success, never feeling complete within themselves. The problem with comparison is that it is never fair. It does not see the full picture. It takes fragments of someone else's life, the highlights and achievements, and places them next to one's own struggles, doubts, and shortcomings. This distorted lens makes it easy to feel behind, unworthy, or lacking, even when that is far from the truth. No two lives follow the same path. No two people are meant to walk in identical footsteps. Every individual has their own strengths, their own timing, and their own journey. But when comparison takes hold, all of that is forgotten. The mind fixates on what others have, what they have accomplished, how they are perceived, and what they seem to be. This only leads to self-doubt and frustration. Instead of appreciating one's own progress, energy is wasted on chasing a standard that was never meant to be theirs. The illusion of comparison is that it assumes there is a single definition of success, a single measure of worth. But in reality, there are infinite paths to fulfillment, each unique to the individual. What is fulfilling for one person may feel empty for another. What seems like success on the outside may not bring happiness on the inside. When a person detaches from comparison, they free themselves from the need to compete. They begin to walk their own path, unburdened by what others are doing or achieving. True peace comes from self-acceptance. It is knowing that nothing needs to be proven, that worth is not determined by external accomplishments or recognition. When a person stops comparing, they begin to appreciate their own life fully. They see progress in small steps, value in their unique journey, and purpose in their own experiences. They stop measuring themselves against someone else's timeline and start trusting their own. Comparison often breeds envy, resentment, and dissatisfaction. But these emotions serve no purpose other than to drain energy. Instead of looking at others with jealousy, one can choose to look with inspiration. Instead of feeling threatened by someone else's success, one can see it as proof of what is possible. Instead of believing that another's achievements take something away, one can recognize that there is enough for everyone. Detaching from comparison is not about ignoring ambition or settling for less. It is about shifting focus inward, finding motivation from within, rather than seeking approval outside. It is about setting personal goals, measuring progress based on one's own journey, and defining success in a way that feels authentic. There is no need to prove anything to anyone. The only competition that matters is with the person in the mirror. The moment comparison is released, life becomes lighter. The mind is no longer cluttered with unnecessary doubts. There is space to grow, to explore, to embrace one's own strengths, without worrying about how they measure up. Each person's journey is their own, and when that truth is fully accepted, comparison loses its power. What remains is a deep sense of self-trust, a quiet confidence, and the freedom to live without the burden of constantly measuring against others. Hesitation is the enemy of progress. The world does not reward those who wait for the perfect moment, who overthink every decision, or who tiptoe cautiously toward their goals. Success is drawn to those who move decisively, who take risks, and who act with conviction, even in the face of uncertainty. Bold action signals an unshakable belief in oneself, a refusal to be limited by fear, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. Most people dream of success, but few are willing to step outside their comfort zones to chase it. They wait for the right time, the right circumstances, the right feeling, but waiting achieves nothing. The conditions are never perfect, and clarity only comes through action. Those who succeed are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who dare to move forward despite not having all the answers. They understand that inaction guarantees failure, while bold action creates possibilities. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It whispers reasons to delay, to analyze, to gather more information before making a move. But hesitation is a trap. The longer one waits, the more doubt creeps in, and the more paralyzing fear becomes. Those who act boldly silence the voice of hesitation by proving to themselves that they are capable. Every step taken builds momentum, and momentum is the force that separates those who achieve from those who merely wish. Boldness is not recklessness. It does not mean charging forward blindly without thought. It means trusting oneself enough to move forward despite the uncertainty. It means recognizing that failure is not an end, but a necessary part of the journey. Those who take bold action do not fear mistakes, because they understand that mistakes are lessons. Every failure refines them, strengthens them, and prepares them for what comes next. The only real failure is refusing to try. Success is attracted to those who command it, not those who hope for it. Those who take bold action create their own opportunities instead of waiting for them to appear. They do not wait for permission or external validation. They make decisions, take risks, and trust that they will figure things out along the way. This kind of energy draws in resources, connections, and circumstances that align with their goals. The world respects those who move with certainty. Confidence and action create influence. When someone operates with boldness, others take notice. Doors open. People are drawn to those who act with conviction because conviction signals competence and leadership. A person who hesitates, who second-guesses, who constantly seeks reassurance, will always be overlooked in favor of the one who moves with purpose. The greatest achievements in history were made by those who refused to let fear dictate their choices. They were not necessarily fearless, but they acted in spite of fear. They understood that hesitation kills opportunity. They stepped forward before they felt ready, and in doing so they shaped the world around them. Those who wait for the perfect moment will find themselves waiting forever. But those who take bold action create their own future, bending circumstances to their will instead of being controlled by them. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stagnant is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is action. The willingness to make a move, to take risks, to trust oneself enough to act without guarantees. Boldness is a force that commands success, and those who harness it will find that the world responds in kind. Seeking approval is a trap that keeps people confined to expectations that are not their own. It turns life into a performance where every action is carefully measured to gain acceptance rather than express truth. But living for approval is an exhausting pursuit, because no amount of external validation can replace the deep sense of fulfillment that comes from being authentic. Authenticity is the willingness to stand alone in one's truth, to be unshaken by the opinions of others, and to act in alignment with inner values rather than external pressures. It is a quiet confidence that does not demand recognition because it is not built on the fragile foundation of validation. A person who is authentic does not mold themselves to fit into places where they do not belong. They do not bend their beliefs to match the expectations of others. They live with integrity even when it is inconvenient, even when it makes them different, even when it means losing approval. Approval is temporary. The same people who praise today may criticize tomorrow. The standards that dictate what is acceptable are always shifting, and trying to keep up with them is a losing battle. Authenticity, on the other hand, is unshaken by these external changes. It does not seek to impress or to conform. It simply is. A person who embraces authenticity does not need permission to be themselves. They do not shrink to make others comfortable or pretend to be something they are not to fit in. Fear of rejection is one of the greatest obstacles to authenticity. Many people hold back their thoughts, their ideas, and their true selves because they are afraid of judgment. They stay silent when they should speak. They follow paths that do not fulfill them because they fear disapproval. But every time a person betrays their own truth for the sake of fitting in, they lose a piece of themselves. They trade authenticity for a temporary sense of belonging, but it comes at the cost of inner peace. The world does not need more people who are skilled at pleasing others. It needs more people who are unafraid to be real, to be different, to stand for something. True connection is only possible through authenticity. Approval can be given to a carefully curated version of someone, but real respect is given to those who have the courage to be themselves. When a person stops chasing approval, they begin to attract those who truly align with them. They find relationships, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with who they are, not who they pretend to be. Authenticity requires self-trust. It means believing that being real is enough, that there is no need to exaggerate, to perform, or to manipulate perception. It means understanding that approval is not the goal. Truth is. A person who lives authentically may not always be liked, but they will always be at peace. They do not carry the weight of false personas or the burden of meeting expectations that do not align with them. They move freely, without fear, because they have nothing to prove and nothing to hide. Approval is an illusion that keeps people seeking more, always afraid of losing what they have gained. But authenticity is a foundation that cannot be taken away. It is a source of true confidence, unshaken by external opinions. The moment a person chooses authenticity over approval, they reclaim their power. They stop living to impress and start living with purpose. They let go of the need to be accepted and embrace the freedom of simply being. And in that freedom they find a strength that approval could never give them. Authenticity is the foundation of true freedom. Living for approval is a never-ending chase, a cycle that keeps people trapped in the fear of rejection and the need to conform. But the moment one chooses to embrace their truth without apology, they step into a life of genuine confidence and inner peace. Approval is fleeting, but authenticity is unshakable. It attracts the right people, the right opportunities, and the kind of respect that cannot be faked. True fulfillment comes not from being accepted by others, but from accepting oneself completely. The greatest power lies in living unapologetically as who you truly are.